That chick's a monster.
She may be the real killer.
Dude, I'm not kidding. I went to bed angry. Maybe a little reckless to be having unprotected sex with him. I don't know.
No, a unicorn kill always gives me a little bit of a smile. The call is coming from inside the house. All right, welcome back to Fright Night Flicks. You're here with Dan and Darren, your go-to horror movie review podcast.
Hi, Daniel. Nice to see you again.
Hello, Darren. Nice to see you again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What's up, everybody? This week, we are going to be reviewing Black Christmas.
The caller is in the house. The calls are coming from the house.
And controversial, we picked the original.
Dude.
That's actually not controversial at all. Apparently, the original is the one to watch.
Yeah, from my research, I've never heard of this movie until you brought it up, yesterday?
Yeah. No, I've had multiple people recommend this to me before, even before the holiday season was upon us.
Yeah, and so apparently it's a classic. I didn't know, but doing my research, I saw the remake, not that good.
Research? Like you're in a lab, like... during my experimentation,
I went to the library. I looked at the bibliothèque. No, that's the library in Spanish. What's that thing where you look
bibliography?
Yeah,
idiot.
the bibliography.
Anyways, we're going to be reviewing Black Christmas. It came out in 1974. The newer one apparently is trash, dog water. Yeah. But we haven't watched it. I don't know. So, well, as usual, if you guys are new to the show, we'll start off with a brief overview, give our initial impressions, break down the movie. Why are you laughing?
I'm just laughing because I said bibliothèque.
And then at the end, we'll give our final review. So, for you guys, I know there's a couple of you out there. You guys are saying to yourself, I love this show. I just feel like I should do something, maybe get even something for myself and for the show. And we got something perfect for you. It's called Patreon. You can help support the show and also get monthly bonus episodes, early access to episodes, ad-free episode, Discord access. And honestly, we couldn't even do it without these guys right here who are our current Patreon members.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Now, if you don't have the cash, I get it. But you want to help out, guys, leave a review on Apple or Spotify. Give us some 5 stars. And if you leave a comment, we'll read it on here, just like we're doing with Infamous Loco. Best podcast ever is the title.
Do I have to give you credit for
this?
No, I got to do it. I'm sorry, guys. That transition was so freaking good.
Thank you.
You become like a pro with these.
This is a setup. It's perfect. I can do it every time.
Yeah, but you guys don't know, if listeners and viewers, whatever. We usually fight during the intro where I get mad at Dan, like, dude, you got to get this thing down. And we have a little back and forth. I usually cut it from the podcast, but now you got it.
Yeah.
Good job.
No fight this time.
No.
Yeah. If you don't see a cut, that means things went well. Yeah. So Infamous Loco says, just like the title says, the best podcast ever. These guys are my go-to for TCM news, and I've been locked in, but now we're getting these fire horror movie reviews as well. In Chuckles' voice, I'm your friend till the end. I can't do the voice.
That'd be Chucky, not Chuckles. Chucky's voice. What do you think? Chuckles the clown?
I'm like, well, that was my out, because I was like, I don't know, I can't do the voice. I didn't even know who Chuckles was.
What voice were you gonna do?
Well, Chuckles, whatever that is. And finishes up. Please give my guys a listen. You won't be disappointed. I promise you. Fire emojis.
Oh, it was just more fire emojis.
More fire emojis.
Oh, dude, thanks, man.
Thank you.
Great review, Infamous Loco. That's awesome.
And he's not the only one. We got the 502 Kid. Great horror movie podcast. A fun, enjoyable horror podcast. The way they go through each movie and the fun commentary makes the show super entertaining. A great listen, and hope they keep up the great work. And what I will say, we're going to.
Yeah, dude, we're not stopping. Dude, thank you guys. Dude, it means a ton to get freaking reviews because we do these every week. I mean, for free, practically.
I don't think it's practical. Actually, to be honest, we lose money.
Yeah, but we like doing them, so I don't really care.
Actually, with our patrons, we might be close to breaking even because we have to pay to host these. So I think we're about even.
So that's where we're at. So, dude, it's a ton of work. It doesn't matter. Getting reviews like that makes it all worth it. I'm glad you guys like listening, and we're not going to stop.
Done.
So this is just the beginning. We're on a rocket ship.
Not 1, not 2, not 3.
The rocket ships.
You know what I'm going with
I know what you're doing, dude.
Okay, we'll move on.
Hey, nothing makes me happier that the Lakers are losing, by the way.
Yes, that's a whole different podcast.
Wait for our sports podcast.
All right, so we start off Black Christmas. This is the synopsis here. During Christmas break, a group of sorority girls are stalked by a stranger.
Yeah.
Could it be any more bland than that?
No, but that's it. That's exactly what's happening. Yeah, there's not much flavor to it. I don't want to get here. Let's go through.
I think we're gonna have different takes on this one. All right. So this is directed by Bob Clark, written by Ray Moore, stars Olivia Hussey, Kira. I think that is a Kira. Kira Dole, Margaret Kidler. All right. Rotten Tomato scores. The critic.
There's no L.
Dude, you just roll with this stuff, all right? Nobody will ever know.
I could listen to you try to say names the whole day. Like you butchered.
You know what? I'm
gonna
throw it to you for those. I'm
not being negative. I actually like what you're doing.
I'm just telling you.
It's a fun little thing you do where you try to say the name as bad as possible. It's like your little skit, right?
Sure. So Rotten Tomatoes, critics gave it a 71 and audience gave it a 76%. Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, would you say those scores are near what you're thinking?
I'm not going to tell you. We will wait till the end. Okay, I just want to give a little backstory. I did a little research on this because I couldn't tell. For a while, I didn't realize I thought they were like British or something.
There's one girl who had an accent.
Look, Peter, we'll talk about it tomorrow, okay?
Jess in the movie. She had like a strong accent.
And that one guy who's into music, he said some name I didn't recognize. I thought maybe that was a place in England.
I have that
conservatory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where he's quitting. I have that later on in the show because I was like, what the F is that?
Yeah. I'm like, I have no idea. Is that a college thing? I mean, I went to college. I never saw a conservatory.
Okay. The reason we're idiots with this, it's Canadian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. That does make more sense.
Right. Didn't have any idea either. Cause at first it just seems like old school, right? Like, cause it's an older movie. And then there's some strong accents that come in and it's like, what the F is this?
But they all didn't have accents.
Yeah. Maybe it's a French Canadian, you know?
Well, that is really funny. I didn't even know that this was foreign. Except for I thought it was odd that they threw one girl in with an accent and didn't say where she was from.
Yeah, but it kind of makes sense. Anyways, it's inspired apparently by an urban legend, The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs, a series of murders that took place in the West neighborhood of, well, this is kind of weird. So it says an urban legend, but then it says a series of murders. So I don't know if it's real or not.
Yeah, that makes it seem like it wasn't an urban legend.
That took place in Montreal, Quebec.
All right, cool.
Anyways, I just found that interesting because this seemed to me like it's got to be one of the first like killers in the house, right?
Like slasher.
Killer. I think somebody said this is one of the first slashers.
Well, can we reveal the one part about the phone call?
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I guess we could.
We'll talk about it later, but there's a scene that I've seen in other movies. It's like my favorite scene. I love that scene.
We might as well do it. Okay, so the killer in this movie is in the house the whole time. And
that's not a spoiler. It's like from the get-go.
Yeah, you know he's in the house. That's like the first scene. But no, let's save that part till then. Let's just give our initial impressions.
Okay.
So overall, like, what was your thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, so I went in this blind. Did not know what I was walking into at all. I really actually was pretty impressed. I thought it was well done, and I can see where a lot of movies after this have taken from this movie. It was better than I thought, especially for being like, what was this made? 1970 something?
Yeah, I can give you the exact. It was made in 1974.
Yeah. Dude, and I'm going to be honest, it holds up. Like those ratings, I'm going to save my rating till the end, but that's around where I'm at. I was actually really impressed. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I loved it. It's kind of, I mean, it's pretty unique for back in the day. I mean, they did a Christmas horror movie, that's an interesting take. And I find it very unsettling, you know, when you have the Christmas vibes with the like scary psycho killer. Also, this killer is pretty out there, and it, like you said, it's old, but it still gets the point across. Like there was parts where, not that I was really that scared or something, but I'm like, it's unsettling.
Yeah, I didn't find it that scary because again, we've seen a lot of things now through our horror movie reviews.
Yeah.
Terrifier has just killed me inside. But I enjoyed the movie. That's where I go off. I'm not a movie reviewer. I don't know details of movie stuff. As they say in movie schools that people go to.
Those are some words.
No, but I don't know, I don't know details about how to review movies or that junk. I go off of like feel, and I actually enjoyed, and like I need to be captivated the whole time. And I was with this movie. I was totally into it.
Yeah, overall, I liked the story. I liked the setting. I liked the way the killer operated, and I enjoyed some of the kills.
Yeah, yeah. And
So-
I like the main setting being this sorority house where people are coming and going. It's lively and interesting.
We did get into some social issues, though.
Oh my God.
Some
dude.
political.
Poor Peter. Dude, Peter gets dragged in this movie.
Poor Peter.
I'm going to be honest. What's this girl's name? Jess?
We'll wait. We'll get to
Dude,
it. We'll get
that
to
chick's
it.
a monster.
She may be the real killer.
Dude, I'm not kidding.
Cold-blooded killer.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
I don't want to get too far into it, but
Dude, I went to bed angry.
okay, let's start with the movie. All right. It was
Sure.
a dark winter night. We see a sorority house set in the city of Quebec. Yeah, so there's a sorority house. I love the setting of it because it is like a winter night. It's all decorated for Christmas. You can see like a party is going on inside, and we have the view, that first person view where you are the killer looking through his eyes, and he's just like breathing heavily outside watching.
Okay, so my one issue, I do love that point of view. It reminds me of now, since then, right, Friday the 13th does the same type of thing.
Yeah.
You're looking through the killer's point of view. I love that. I don't know the history of this stuff. Was this like the first movie to kind of do this?
I don't know.
Yes, it was. Facts. No, I'm kidding. But no, it was really cool. My only issue is the breathing was more of like a snorting or a snore almost at times.
Yeah, but they kind of made him like almost like a pigman.
Yeah, I'm being critical. I actually did like it because the whole time you're kind of wondering like, who the heck is this guy?
Right.
And it's really weird.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you flipped your opinion.
No, I mean, it was a little like sleepy. It sounded a little bit like a snore, but I did like how unsettling it was. It was weird.
I took it more grunty, but whatever. Anyways, basically this movie is going to kind of take place in only like a handful of locations. It's the sorority house. That's the main one we're going to be at for most of it. At one point, we do go to a fraternity house. That's like a brief thing. The police station, we're in and out of there, and like we go to a park.
Do you know who that police officer is?
No, but he does look familiar.
Friday the 13th, bro. Isn't that the same guy?
As who?
The police officer in Friday the 13th, the girl's dad.
Wait, hold on. Friday the 13th, the girl's dad. Are you saying the right movie?
Yeah. Am I saying the right? Yeah, Friday the 13th. The girl. Let's look this up. Wait.
Who? What girl's dad?
The main girl. Remember, the parents were separated on Friday the 13th. Her dad worked at the police station.
Dude, that's Halloween.
No, Friday the 13th.
No, that's Friday the 13th. I was thinking of no, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, Nightmare on Elm Street. I would do constantly say the wrong names.
I think you're right.
Nightmare on Elm Street. That is the dad on Nightmare on Elm Street.
I think you could be correct.
No, I'm 99.5% sure.
Okay. All right. So basically, we're going to meet the main girls, and there's Barb. I know you're not even remember these names. You didn't probably go with
Was
that.
Barb? Did she have the fro?
Barb was the wild one. Like,
Oh, she was. Yeah, she had the mouth on her.
Oh, why don't you go find a wall socket and stick your tongue in it? That'll give you a charge.
yeah. So there's Barb. There's Claire.
I really don't think you should provoke somebody like that, Barb.
Well, Claire's only around for a little bit. There's Jess.
There's nothing to discuss, Peter.
That's the killer.
Jess is like, she's got the foreign voice, which apparently is exactly how it should be where she lives.
And then there's Phil, I think that's the little bit of
Seems
a
like a
fro.
nicer girl.
Yeah.
Well, they scared the shit out of me.
So, well, inside the house, they're all drinking up. They're having a good old time. And we get the killer, we get that first person view where he kind of makes his way up to the attic. And then he immediately kind of like gets right into the house pretty quick.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool too, because from the get-go, this guy's just chilling up in the attic.
Yeah. And that's like that's going to be his base for the movie.
Yeah, which is so creepy.
It's odd. I also wonder how he got into that attic. Like he kind of just hopped up there, but that seemed like he might need a ladder.
You know, sometimes I think how they film this, I feel like he had the camera, and sometimes you see like two left arm pulls. I think especially when he's coming down the ladder, because I think in real life he's holding the camera as he's going down the ladder.
I actually think you're right, because in I was gonna do the movie goof stuff, like continuity errors, that stuff, and there's some scenes where you can see things.
Yeah. Which, hey, I don't care. This thing was so old and did a great job with it.
Yeah. So we see the killer kind of come down, and soon after, we hear a phone call ring. And this is going to happen throughout the entire movie. The phone rings a ton.
Right.
So, and by the way, it's a phone, like a house phone for many of you that don't know what that is.
Yeah, I know. A landline, one might say.
Yeah, and it's even like, I think it's even one of those, does it do the spin thing? Maybe
I don't
not.
know if it does that.
It probably does.
It probably, I just didn't pay attention.
So Barb ends up picking up the phone, and it's the moaner. So they know this guy. He's been calling a bunch. He's been bugging them. He does moan, but he does a lot more than moan. I'd say that's underplaying what he does.
Well, he does a lot of things. He has different voices, but what came off to me, especially in these early phone calls, he's like one of these like sexually disturbed killers.
Well, yeah, that's because he says things like, let me lick it and suck my juicy.
You make me beep all these, don't you? Yeah, dude, which again, when he's calling these young girls, it's disturbing. It's like, this guy is sick.
Yeah, and it's not like a fun suck my juicy. It's
It's so gross, dude.
it's weird. It's like it's good, but it's good because it puts you in that like, wow, this is a real weirdo. This isn't like a little fake prank call. This is like a strange human being,
Like a disturbed person.
right? So Barb kind of actually even spices it up, antagonizes the killer a little bit, and you get the vibe from Barb. She may be a little bit of a baddie.
Oh, why don't you go find a wall socket and stick your tongue in it? That'll give you a charge.
It was hard for me to read. You know what's funny with Barb? I wasn't even sure if her roommates liked her. I was kind of a hard time grasping on her character.
Yeah, that's one of my criticisms later on. Some of these people are a little underdeveloped, but like Barb basically I think is just kind of the drunk, annoying roommate. Like, not, I don't know about annoying, but she kind of calls people out and makes people a little uncomfortable because they kind of set the stage that like Barb is going to almost cause Claire to leave.
You really are too much, Barb. Oh, come on. This is a sorority house, not a convent.
I'll see you later. I'm gonna go pack.
So they think, you know what I mean? Like she ran Claire out a little bit, and there's not even a whole lot of dialogue, but I think you're supposed to get that impression. Like she's abrasive.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. She likes to drink. She says crass things. She's just wild. She's a little wild for the times.
Yes.
But you're right. The character development, because some of these girls, I'm like, I don't know anything about you.
Oh, I had to watch through the second time, and even at that, it was like, what's that person's name again? Because they come and go.
And even scenes kind of just cut. Like you cut to a scene, and I don't even really know what's going on.
There are some characters too that are introduced that just don't go anywhere.
Well, the girls,
Claire's boyfriend.
Yeah, you already know what I'm going to say.
Know.
But okay, wait, we'll get to it.
Okay, so Claire ends up like going to her room. She's getting ready to go somewhere. I don't even remember. Anyways,
she's leaving or something.
Right. So
same thing as going somewhere.
Yeah. But we see that she's not alone. She hears something in the closet. Kind of goes looking around. When a plastic bag thrown over her head, suffocated. Claire's dead.
you missed the who's there? Who's there? It's like she kept saying something like,
do you know who may be the real like accomplice is the cat?
Oh, was the cat around?
They always hear the cat. Like Mrs. Mack goes searching for the cat. They always hear a cat and they're searching, and that's what leads them to the killer.
You're right. That does happen a couple times.
And I don't know where the cat goes because there is a cat at some point, but you never see it again, I don't think.
I mean, who cares? You know, honestly, like we said in the last pod, can't trust cats, dude.
Yeah,
but no, she made me laugh. She kept saying the same line, like, "Who are you?" or something to that effect. Like, "Who are you? Who are you? Who is that?" Or maybe it's, "Who is that? Who is that?"
Who is that? Who is it? Claude? Who is that? Who is it?
Okay, someone's weird in the room. How about I would leave. I want to investigate that.
Yeah, you're also like talking to your clothes in the closet at that point.
Well, she's kind of saw something back there.
Maybe she did.
It's weird.
Anyways, we kind of get like the first, I mean, I don't know. This is where I started hearing pig noises, okay? Like the killer made this like snorting weird noises.
Yeah, he does. He does make animal-like noises. Again, he'll also make woman noises and man noises and child noises.
Do you know what? He kind of like had Leatherface vibes to me.
Dude, I got so many flashes of, I'm not sure. I would think some of these movies have taken from this original movie. Because yeah, the pig noise, the way he acted did remind me a lot of him.
Like mentally disturbed, maybe a little like mentally or mental, what is it? Not development, mental.
I don't know. His brain broke.
Brain, yeah, he got brain broke. So, anyways, Claire for the rest of the movie is going to be living with a plastic bag wrapped around her head. Okay, that's just the way it is. By the way, okay, I'm just going to get to it. Apparently, she's in the attic. I thought for a large part of this movie that she was just in her room with a plastic bag on her head. I'm like, does nobody check the room?
Yeah, I don't believe they showed him taking her up there, but he did take her in the attic and put her in like a rocking chair. To which I was thinking, could you drag? Okay, we're big guys.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we're strong. We lift weights and all that junk.
Mm-hmm.
You could not drag someone up in the attic. A limp body.
Okay, here's the problem you're going to have. You would have to put them on your shoulder, which is going to be a chore. A limp body's hard to lift.
Oh yeah, dead weight.
That's a fact. I've lifted many limp bodies.
He's not a killer. Just to be
I'm not a
clear.
killer. No, seriously though. But to like get up into the attic, that little square is going to be hard to get that body through.
Oh yeah,
That's going to be like a 3-man job.
I mean, you would be exhausted if you even can pull it off.
There would have to be ropes involved, I think. Maybe a pulley system, which debatable he may have.
But I will say later in the film, he does seem to have a lot of strength. So I'll just say that.
You know, brain broke strength.
Yeah.
So, okay. Meanwhile, the rest of the girls. Okay, so Claire's gone. Rest of the girls opening presents, and we see Mrs. Mack. She's like the house mother to the fraternity.
Sorority.
Yep. You will learn Mrs. Mack is a little bit of a booze hound.
Got about as much use for this as a chastity.
Before booze. There you are.
So you'll see she hides alcohol all over the place. She's an alcoholic.
A full-blown alcoholic.
Because when you're watching this, the kids are having a party, but she's drinking these hidden bottles of alcohol. And I was like, oh, that's kind of lame. But then I'm like, you know what? That is how alcoholics behave, though. So it tracks.
Yeah, my favorite is when she goes to the encyclopedias for a couple reasons. First of all, if you weren't from a time when we had encyclopedias, those used to be like a big thing. You would buy a set of encyclopedias where you would have like A through Z, and you would look through them to like, instead of like Googling or ChatGPT, you know?
Yeah, if you want to learn about the world, they're in the encyclopedia.
That was like a big thing. We used to have them too, and they were pretty enjoyable. Like you look through it, read stuff.
But for real, like how much did you really read through the encyclopedia?
There was like a school project. I needed to look something up.
Yeah, like where are leopards from?
Like people used to go around and sell those things.
No, they were cool. That is funny. I don't know that that's a thing anymore. Why would you need it? You literally have Google.
You don't know? I will tell you, it is not a thing anymore.
I don't know. People like books.
I like books, but I'm not going to buy encyclopedias.
Well, they're expensive too.
And they're outdated. You got to constantly update stuff.
That's a fact.
Okay. Anyways, she goes to the letter B for booze, and that's where she's got her little hollowed out book with her bottle. I like that one.
I didn't even notice that. That's
also,
funny.
her other great spot is under the toilet lid. Great spot. I mean, that is a good spot to hide stuff.
Well, that's disgusting. It's in the water, right?
But it's clean water.
I mean, it's still gross. Like I don't want to drink something that's sitting in water.
True.
I mean, I know it's sealed up, but still, it's just, what if
Yeah.
it opened up and then you're drinking some toilet water?
Okay, true.
It's not a spot I want to be in.
So the killer he kind of retreats back up to the attic. And now we get to where we meet Claire's father. So the story's starting to develop.
Well, and let's say, so there was a party. The guys actually left. They made it clear. Claire gets killed. The party's over, but no one knows what happened to Claire. They just thought you lose track of people in this movie. They just thought she left.
Yeah, apparently Claire is gone, but they don't know where. And she's not in her room with a bag over her head. She's in the attic.
Right.
With a bag over her head. Anyways, Claire's dad arrives. He goes to school. He can't find her. She's supposed to meet up with him. He ends up getting kind of taken over to the sorority house where he and Mrs. Mack have some interactions. And I kind of like this part because they kind of show Mrs. Mack is a total mess. And the house they're kind of like, I mean, to be honest, for this time, they're pretty wild sorority house.
I'm very disappointed in this atmosphere.
I didn't send my daughter here to be drinking and picking up boys.
Oh, Claire's a good girl, Mr. Harrison. I wouldn't want you to get the wrong idea about that. She is a good girl.
I don't know what things were like. I think in just my perception of the past is like, oh, things were a lot more buttoned up back then, but maybe that wasn't true because it does seem wild. She got some like sexual posters on the wall.
Dude, my favorite is the old lady where it's different shots. And as it goes through, she's like getting angrier. And then at the end, she's flipping them off.
I haven't seen that, but that's a nice poster.
Oh, you didn't see it?
No, I haven't seen that before, I should say.
No, I did like that. But anyways, Mrs. Mack is trying to see. This is where I thought there was going to develop more of Claire's dad. Even to be honest, he's there looking for Claire. He really doesn't have much emotion, and he really is just kind of a tag along for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, there's really not much to him at all. In fact, I can't even tell you one thing he even says, except for maybe "Where's Claire?"
Yeah, but even at that, he's just like kind of there. He's not really doing much. So he's around now. He'll be there at the end of the movie. We'll get to it. We meet Jess and Peter.
Oh, Peter. Peter's the pianist.
The pianist, yes. And okay, so these two, they're in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, and they got a lot of problems.
Okay, go in.
The big part of this movie that it's interesting because they really wanted to make this a big deal, which it is a big deal, but
Yeah.
Jess tells Peter she's pregnant.
Yeah. Can we say that word? I'm sure we can.
We're going to.
Okay.
Jess wants an abortion.
I'm pregnant.
Jess, that's fantastic.
I don't want it.
She's over it. Like very quickly and very coldly to her, it's done.
Yeah. So she finds out she's pregnant and immediately is like, hey, I'm going to go tell my boyfriend. Keep in mind, Peter's got a big event coming up that day.
Yeah. He's got the big recital or test. It's like a test.
Yeah. I don't know.
In the conservatory.
Hey, spoiler, the dude bombs this thing. Dude, I could have played this piano recital and I know nothing about pianos. I mean, it was a legendary bomb.
I would say it did not go well.
But keep it in mind. So Jess goes to Peter and just like, hey, I'm pregnant. I don't want the baby. It's not going to happen. And it's like, okay. And Peter's even like, well, why are you telling me this today? I have a recital. It's like she could have waited a few hours, right? And not only that, it's not even like a choice. She's just like, yeah, I'm getting rid of it. So, okay.
Are you saying that she shouldn't have the choice? She shouldn't be able to make her own choice?
I'm saying
we're not going to get
I'm definitely not going to get my opinion on that. I'll just say I do not agree with anything Jess has done in this show.
Well, the weird thing is, it's like she brings it up to him and is immediately like, hey, I'm pregnant, but I'm not, we're getting rid of this thing.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty cold and like no emotion to it.
You can't make a decision like that. You haven't even asked me.
I wasn't even going to tell you.
And he has a recital. It's like you could have a recital. I don't know what it is. You could have waited a few hours because what does it matter? You've already made your decision. Now you're just effing with Peter. You know what I'm saying? She did. Why wait? Why tell him right then? Just wait a few hours.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Whatever. That happens and that'll come up later.
So Peter's very upset by this, rightfully so.
Right. So Claire's dad ends up going to the fraternity house. The only reason I bring this up is because they're giving kids alcohol. I don't know why. Like Barb is letting little kids just drink.
Okay, was that was that at the sorority house?
That was at the fraternity house because they were throwing a Christmas party and they had a Santa over there.
See, I got confused on where we were. Yeah, the kids sit on Santa's lap and the Santa's, some frat guy who's just cussing right in front of the kid and just not even pretending to be Santa.
Look, she's supposed to be going away with me for the weekend, God damn it.
Yeah, that whole vibe over there, not good.
I mean, it's weird. Yeah, it's dark.
And yeah, that's all we're going to talk about the fraternity house. It doesn't go any further than that.
It didn't matter. It's just a weird scene.
Right. So back at the sorority house, Jess receives another phone call. This is where the killer starts saying like Billy, like baby, like mother. I don't know. It's like you start getting a feeling there's a story here.
Hello?
Where did you put the baby?
You've got the wrong number.
Your mother and I must know it.
From my recollection, I only watched it through once. Not because I didn't like it, time constraints.
Mm-hmm.
I got the feeling that there's this mother-son issue he's dealing with.
Yeah, I think he and somebody murdered someone. That's about as much as I know.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it because I have some more of his dialogue.
Well, it reminds me, maybe in this took some stuff from Psycho. Or Psycho, do you remember that movie?
Yeah, but it's a deep pull.
I know. I've even forgotten. I think he had mother issues too. I think, didn't he dress up like his mom?
Yeah, it's Bates, right?
Yeah, similar type of thing going on here.
He's not dressing up as his mom.
No, but he's pretending to be his mom and a child. I'm assuming it's his mom. I don't even know if it's his mom. This guy's crazy.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so at some point, Barb and Claire's dad and Mrs. Mack, they're all sitting around and I don't even know why, but Barb goes on this big rant about turtle sex.
There's a certain species of turtle that can screw for 3 days without stopping.
And it's like this guy's daughter's like disappeared. No one seems to really care. I guess they just think she left.
Yeah, but at some point they do start to get concerned. I mean, she was supposed to meet up with her dad. That's where she was going. She's going to meet up with her dad. Never showed up. And her dad's very concerned. And Barb...
Is he, though?
I think so. You're right. It's hard to tell. He seems to because he's trying to find information on where she's at. And you're right. Barb doesn't seem to... No one really seems to care. And she goes on this... I think it's this whole rant, her doing the turtle thing. I think it's just a show like Barb. Give a little flavor to Barb. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and she did. She kind of turned on everyone because she was like feeling that she was blamed for Claire leaving. Like she made Claire mad and Claire left, but I don't feel like they showed enough for that.
They showed one scene and you could tell there was some tension between Claire and Barb. And Barb's also drunk at this point.
Yeah, I think this is where Barb pretty much crashes out for the night.
Yeah.
So anyways, the group ends up... What? Oh, and the group ending up going on. That's what I wrote. That's not even a sentence.
The group is
That's
word
what I
for it.
wrote. Oh, and the group ended up going on.
Correct. Let's go with that.
Okay. So, anyways, Barb, Claire's dad, and Phil, they go to the cops and tell them about these prank phone calls. So we're finally getting to where they're getting the authorities involved. And this is where I know I'm like, why haven't they checked Claire's room? I don't know why I thought she was in there the whole time. Because it just seemed like you didn't see her get moved. Anyways, whatever.
This is going to come in later, though. No one really seems to ever check the house.
They barely do.
Yeah.
Barely. So the cops initially don't take like the whole prank calls really that serious. But long story short, they do come around. Okay. There's a lot of, I kind of like consolidated scenes because it cuts a lot.
No, there's a lot of cuts and really a lot of it's just fluff, to be honest.
Yeah. And well, here's another part that gets kind of weird because apparently there's a young girl also missing. Like that kind of jumps into the story that a girl's gone missing. Another woman's reporting her that to the authorities. And then the Claire's dad and these girls, they end up going and helping with this search party for the little girl at the park.
That's so funny because I thought that was the search party for Claire.
No, this is for the missing little girl, which they find very quickly that she's dead. They don't show it, but she's dead.
I think the whole point of this, though, is to show someone is actually doing something. Because if you didn't have this scene of finding this girl dead, at this point, Claire's just missing. No one knows. There's not really a sense of danger to anyone in the show yet. We know as the audience, but they don't know that anything is really dangerous at this point. Now that the girl's dead, they know someone is on the loose.
There is a killer.
There is a
out
killer
there somewhere. So back at the sorority house, Miss Mack is packing up her bags, drinking her whiskey, having a grand old time when she hears something that she thinks is the cat. She like searches around and it sounds like it's coming up from the attic. So she climbs up the ladder. So the scene to the attic, it's a ladder that goes straight up into like a little square attic access.
Yeah, and you'll see that like there's a lot of shots on that attic access because the guy's up there.
Right. So as she's climbing up, you see a shot of the killer where he's holding this hook. And I don't know, maybe this is an attic. I've never seen anything, but it's a hook like on ropes, you know, it's like a pulley almost.
Yeah, yeah.
So she sticks her head up in the attic, yelling for Claude when she sees Claire's body.
Right. And you know what I gotta say? I love what's this chick's name?
Mrs. Mack.
Miss Mack. I did like her. She was kind of a fun character. And even her facial expressions, she's really acting. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I like Miss Mack.
She's shocked, of which anyone would be, but I just like her facial expression. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, so she sees Claire. She's covered, like, she's got a cellophane, whatever, plastic over her face. And then I don't know if she hears something or just gets the feeling, but she turns back and she sees the killer with a hook just as he swings it down into her face. She gets immediately just hooked in the face. Like, I guess it's like a fish hook. It just caught her, you know?
Yeah, and she's dead.
Well, I liked it because it hooks her, and then not only is hooked, he yanks her, and she just flies up.
I mean, can I say this? What exactly was that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why that would. I don't know why that would be in an attic. It's like something you would see maybe on like a movie production set where it's like a hook on ropes that like a pulley that you hook something and lift it up. You know.
But legit, how could you get the force to do what it did?
I mean, he swung it hard.
You think that could hook a body and pull? And then I guess it just hooked her, then he pulled?
Yeah, it'd be hard
I
to,
don't
like, it's
know.
like the hook impelled her face.
You could see that the whole time they were showing him really holding it back, like there was a lot of force to this thing. I just don't understand how there was that force.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever. I
Who
liked it.
cares?
I kind of liked it. So Mrs. Mack and Claire now for the rest of the movie are going to be in the attic hanging out together. He kind of like is staging like a little bit of a scene up there.
Yeah, but I kind of like how he's just like one by one kind of slowly picking these girls off. By the way, how much time has passed? Is this a day?
I think it's all one night. Well, no,
No,
maybe.
because the party I feel like was at night. It might have been like a day or something. I don't know.
Right. So, by the way, this whole movie, Claire is in the window in the attic. Like, if you really looked at the house, you'd see her face.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, they show a lot of shots on the outside where you can see her sitting. I mean, it's hard to see, but it's kind of a creepy vibe that like all this stuff's going on when you can actually see her up there if you look.
That's what makes this movie good, is that it's all, he's doing all this in this house. People are in the house the whole time and they just have no idea.
Yeah, it's good. Killer in the house.
No, I like it. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we see a little bit of the killer's personality as he just kind of like they show him just smashing stuff up, making weird, strange noises. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's really angry and disturbed.
Why? We don't know.
So at this point, do you have any inclination? Do you have any idea of who the killer might be?
No.
No, I don't. In fact, up until the end, I thought I had it. And then I realized I don't.
Yeah, they kind of try to throw you off, and we'll get to it. Peter becomes the main suspect, really.
Right.
Okay, so Jess gets another phone call. This again, she's at the sorority house. This dude is again bonkers. He goes, "I know what you did, Billy," and he starts like again. He's just telling like a weird. It's like you start getting pieces of a story. He's talking about Billy. There's a lot of Billy talk, and then it's like he even pieces together where it's like him and another person did something together, but it's like it's all distorted and he'll change voices and stuff. So it's really odd.
It's just the whole thing's bizarre. Again, was it big?
No, it was like a little.
Oh, thank you.
Anyways.
No, you're right. And again, it's even more disturbing that it's these sorority girls, you know, in this house and these weird phone calls. It's disturbing. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for that. Jess ends up making a phone call to the police. Peter comes walking down the stairs. Jess and Peter talk about the little girl who was murdered.
Okay, well, but that was kind of weird. So Jess is in the house. Again, they kind of come and go. I kind of forget where people even are at points of this. But Peter's just hanging out in their house alone.
Yeah, I think that's where they're starting to, they want to plant the seed that like Peter just roamed down from upstairs.
Yeah, and it is weird. And Peter kind of has a rough face too. You know what I'm saying? Like strong features, very much looked disturbed in ways.
At certain times for sure.
Yeah.
So they're just trying to, this is going to be the main suspect. That's why I think they had him come down the stairs. Anyways, they talk about the little girl. He reveals he's leaving the conservatory.
Yeah. He's had enough of going to the bathroom in lines.
Yeah, it seems like almost like a frat house. Maybe a conservatory is where people who play like in the band. Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
Well, that's what I thought it was. Is like if you're into the music industry, you hang out in conservatory with other people.
I don't even know. But the real big point of this is he just straight up tells her they're getting married. He didn't ask her to marry him. He's just like, hey, we're getting married.
I'm quitting the conservatory and we're getting married.
I can't marry you.
Well, I just pulled earlier in a different phone call with Peter, she pulled the ultimate line where he tells her he loves her and she just gives him the, yeah.
Yeah.
Just freaking, Jess is brutal to this man.
He's also a little unhinged, so I don't really blame her, but yeah, that was rough. I heard that line it always hurts to hear.
Yeah, you got the vibe. She just didn't want to be with him anymore.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, so he tells her they're getting married. Jess ain't about that life.
No,
she ain't trying to be married to him. She don't want that baby. She don't want to be married. She has her own goals, her own ambitions, and she straight up just tells him, "No, it ain't happening."
I mean, I'd straight up say, Jess, why are you with Peter at all?
She doesn't seem to like him at all.
Maybe a little reckless to be having unprotected sex with him. I don't know.
They go real deep on the baby talk. Okay, we're not gonna go too much into it, but there is a lot of baby talk.
Yeah, it was definitely a hot point in this movie.
She ends up just kicking Peter out of that, out, and Like these two are just not on the same page.
Well, this is purely a setup. It's to make you believe, and we don't know yet, that Peter might be the killer.
You know, see, and there's some weird stuff, and I guess this is why they kind of did this too. Because at some point upstairs, the killer does put like a baby with Claire.
Yeah, you're right. That was odd.
Yeah, and I feel like the killer's talking about killing babies too or something.
Well, and the killer has overheard. We know the killer has heard Claire and Peter talk because he references something they say later.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, he references what'd they say? There's something with a baby. I forget what it was, like a seed or something. I forget what it was.
Oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah, but that's what then makes Claire think that Peter might be the killer because the caller referenced something Peter had said.
Okay. Anyways, now at this point, the cops are investigating the prank calls and they decide they're going to give the sorority a call when they realize they've had the greatest prank ever played on them.
Okay, so keep in mind, I like this movie, but it is very odd because it's hard to tell how serious because they know, one, at this point, a little girl has been killed.
Correct.
They have a sorority sister, I think that's what they say in the sorority house, a sister who has disappeared, which is unlike her character because she's, from the story, is very tightened up. She doesn't seem like something she would do is just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they also seem to have no worries about any of this at times.
Correct.
Like for example, we go into the greatest joke here.
Yeah. So Barb, when she went to the police station, she gave them their number. And I don't know how you Canadians and your phones work, but I don't even know how this is a joke. So she gives him the number. When the officer asks for the number, she tells him it's fellatio.
Right.
That's not a number.
You mean if letters and numbers, right? On the phone, they used to have for one, it'd be ABC, two would be DEF. You didn't know that.
Bro,
you forgot, dude.
I forgot.
And some of you, I mean, I can't back on you. Some of you guys might not even know that. That is how it used to work, like on a payphone, right? Or a normal phone. You'd have letters associated with a number. You didn't even know.
Dude, I was like, how are they giving letters for numbers?
That's so funny.
All right, maybe the prank's better than I thought. Either way, whatever. The cops loved it though.
Well, yeah, because there's that one, we kind of even talked about him. I forget his name, Haas or something. There's one cop who's a complete moron.
Fellatio? Yeah, it's a new exchange.
Oh yeah, he's like this. He's kind of nerdy, but also very dumb.
Well, he literally just doesn't any evidence or anything that might connect the killer or give him evidence to where they can find the killer. He just kind of dismisses everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
There's
really no need to talk about him. So the main detective arrives at the house to talk to Jess. So he goes back to the sorority house. The cops want to do the whole wiretap. So this is really like next level stuff.
I don't even understand how this worked back in the day, but I'm sure this must have been a thing.
Yeah. So here's the plan. Here's the cops' plan. They're going to tap the phone. They're going to put one cop outside. Another cop is going to be at the phone company where he's actually going to like physically like follow where the phone call is coming through. How this works, I don't know. Cause I was like, wow, this is something they used to do. Like you actually have to look where the calls come in. There's like a bank of these things,
It seemed to be noise related. Like he was following some sort of noise, which seems like very difficult to do.
Yeah. I guess that's a thing they did.
And keep in mind, so the reason they're there is just because someone's been killed and the sorority sister's missing and they think these phone calls have something to do with it, which they do.
Yeah. This was the point where I'm like, we're going to have the callers in the house.
I know. I thought the same thing too.
Because when they're like, we're going to trace the call, you're like, oh, it's coming back to the house for sure.
I was excited for this
Oh,
part.
because you know he's in the house. So yeah, that was good.
We know. They don't.
True. So as the detectives leave, we see Peter's outside in the shadows. Again, they're studying him as he could possibly be the killer. He's kind of a little disturbed. He's just hanging out outside watching.
It's a creepy move, regardless if he's a killer or not. Him and his girlfriend had a fight. You just stand outside. Nah, dude.
Yeah, it's a little strange. It's a little strange. So at this point in the house,
that's very strange.
Yeah, it's true. So at this point in the house, we have Phil, Jess, and Barb. All right. Mrs. Mack is dead. Claire's dead. So that's pretty much the rest of the cast that's going to be in there. Phil decides she's going to go to bed and call it a night. You guys see where this is going.
Phil, the drunk one.
No, That's Barb.
Oh, Barb.
Barb's asleep.
Barb's already asleep. Okay, all right.
Phil's going to stay around just for a little bit longer. So we see the killer's view in the attic. He's mumbling nonsense. And this is where I said he's got Claire holding a baby now.
Right.
Which is odd, but whatever.
You know what? Did you get the vibe? So again, I think a day had passed. So now we're back at nighttime. Did you get the vibe that the killer was in the house the whole time, or did he leave and then come back?
Well, he definitely goes out of the house at one point.
Yeah, which maybe that's the whole thing. It's like, who is this? I don't know.
Disturbed man. Anyways, Barb wakes up from sleep screaming, just bloody murder in the house, right?
Right.
I think, who is it? Is it Jess? I think Jess goes up there to like check on her. And she had a dream that triggered like an asthma attack. Gives her an inhaler, which by the way, she didn't even take one puff out of that thing.
Easy, relax. You'll be okay.
Okay. That's funny. You saw that. I saw the same thing. I'm like, one, she wasn't holding it right. And I'm like, I don't know what she did with this thing.
Yeah, she wasn't, because you press the end and you take that breath in. She was just kind of like holding it near her mouth, but in a weird way that wasn't going to work.
No.
Nor did, she didn't even try to suck off the inhaler. Wow. All right. Anyways, Jess comforts Barb back to sleep, and then the Christmas carolers arrive, which got me on a whole side path of Christmas caroling, which we're going to talk about.
Dude, this is the thing about being twins. I noticed the same exact things.
Yeah.
Like, is caroling a thing anymore? That's a weird, it's kind of a funny thing that people used to do that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think caroling, it for sure is a thing. I've never had someone come to my house, but I do find it very odd and uncomfortable having a group of like these kids or whoever singing just to you. I find that very uncomfortable.
Oh, dude, I don't even like being in a room with someone singing. I don't know why. I feel awkward about it.
Well, yeah, especially when they're singing songs just staring at you.
And these kids had like no expression on their face, just like deadpan singing.
So then it got me thinking, like, how many songs do you have to listen to before you can leave?
I think it's just a one song deal.
These kids, I think, chained some together.
Well, that's on them. That's not normal. Yeah. That's normal. That's not normal caroling procedure.
I would have clapped them off.
Yeah,
I would have been like, yes, thank you. And then the interesting thing is, Jess actually tipped them.
Oh,
do you tip carolers?
Again, I've only seen it in movies. I've never actually had it happen. I've never been involved in the caroling scene. Would you ever go caroling?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I can't think of a world where I would either.
That's a freaking nightmare.
Oh God, just going up to randoms' houses and then singing in front of them
and like staring at them as you're singing. You know,
yeah, you got to keep that eye contact.
Yeah, it ain't my life.
I appreciate the message and I like the spirit. Not into it though.
Yeah, just not our thing. Anyways, the killer ends up making his way down to Barb's room, where we see a little unicorn on the dresser.
Agnes, it's me, Billy. It's all right, Agnes. It's all right.
So there's a little statue of a unicorn. It's like a glass unicorn with that massive horn.
The sharpest horn I've ever seen.
So he says, he gives some of his lines. He says, "It's me, Billy. It's all right, pretty Agnes." So again, he's given names. You'll never figure this out. It doesn't go anywhere. But obviously, there's something in his past. It sounds like they may have murdered their mom or child. I don't even know. Something bad happened.
Right.
So he raised the unicorn over Bob. He raised the unicorn over Barb. And as we hear the angelic song from the carolers, and just goes to town and stabs her like 8 times or something.
Yeah, it was a solid. I like the scene because it was funny to see the carolers in the happy scene. Jess is down there enjoying it, and Barb is getting taken out by the unicorn upstairs.
It did. I mean, I find it, I don't know. A unicorn kill always gives me a little bit of a smile. So,
Again, it was kind of festive. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyways, the carolers disperse. Jess ends up getting another phone call. And this is where this dude is just cycling through voices. He's going like child, woman, man. And it's hard to tell like who is even on the phone.
Yeah, dude. At one point, I'm like, are there multiple people? But he does a great job changing his voice. So at this point, Jess is the last one alive in the house, right?
No, Phil's still alive.
Phil's still asleep in the bed.
Yeah, I don't know if she's asleep yet, but she's there. Whatever, we'll get to it. So the police are trying to track these calls now while they're, every phone call they're tracking it.
Right.
And I just have to say, Jess does like the worst job ever of like keeping this guy on the line. They tell her like, hey, in order to track this call, you got to keep this guy talking. I don't think she ever actually says a word on the phone.
Dude, it was driving me nuts. I know it's a movie. I was getting so frustrated though. I'm like, dude, you got to say something. Give him anything.
Anything.
She literally doesn't say anything.
No,
at
she
all.
just holds the phone and then she's like, oh, it was disturbing. And it's like, yeah, it's been disturbing. The cops told you. You got to just keep the guy on the line. Say something.
Ask a question. Hi. She does at one point say, where are you? And maybe in the later ones. But you got to be a little more engaging. Try to keep him on the phone.
Jess is a little bit deadpan.
Maybe like hey, what are you wearing? You know what I'm saying? Like get him going.
No, I guess that is true.
Yes.
How about that juicy?
God damn.
So Jess and Phil are now the only ones in the house. Okay. They start talking about the phone calls. They check and make sure that cop is still outside. So again, there's a cop posted at their house. They make sure he's still there, which he is at this point. Then the phone rings and it's Peter and he is acting like a little bitch. Like this dude is sobbing. He's like drooling. And I think the point of this is to make him sound like the killer because he sounds similar.
Oh, look, Peter, don't cry.
At this point, like he can't even control his voice. Like he's like, oh.
Well, Peter's pathetic. Jess has really done a number on him. That's the fact.
Psychological warfare.
Yeah. But the problem is Peter seems to be doing a lot of the same things the killer is, right? We know Peter's around the house. The killer's around the house. The killer's calling. Peter's calling. So there's this connection that's happening.
He does call Jess a baby killer.
Yeah.
Or tell her she's going to kill the baby. He says some stuff that is a little abrasive to her.
Yeah, and he very much seems unhinged. Like at this point, like your mind is like, this guy's got to be the killer.
Yeah, but the cops, or I shouldn't say, but the cops are also starting to suspect him too. Throughout this movie, he just becomes more of the suspect, and they do decide to try to trace his phone call, which again they're horrible at because it is not an easy thing to do.
No, you're around this. It reminds me of a server room, but I guess a telephone call room where there's telephone devices. I don't even know what those are.
Oh, it's so stupid. Anyways, the detective then hearing because the phone's tapped, he's listening in on this. He gets all in their business and basically has her just tell him, why is Peter calling? Why is he upset? He learns about the whole backstory of the baby stuff going on. And this is where I think at this point, Peter is this number one suspect.
But my problem too, again, why I think Jess is maybe not the best victim. She doesn't even tell the cop really what's going on. She's kind of elusive with it. She doesn't want to really tell him what's happening or tell the cop what's happening with Peter and her. Because the cop should know about this because it's a big deal what's going on. And again, he's the only suspect at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Anyways, the girls are at the house when the search party arrives. So there's a random party of these dudes who are going around and they're looking for the killer of the little girl. And their whole plan, I guess, is to go to people's windows while they're carrying guns and just peer through them.
Well, yeah. And then the girls open up the door. Homeboy's got a shotgun pointing at their face.
Oh, he flashes them multiple times.
Oh, it's just going left to right around the face. It's like, bro, you gotta have some gun safety here.
Yeah, these guys are out of control. There's a couple of random scenes. That's one. Another one at the police station where one cop just randomly gets shot with bird shot in the ass.
Yeah, I think these are little comedic moments, which I do like in horror movies when they add that in. The problem is things are serious things have happened. A little girl died, and these girls are laughing at the search party.
Yeah, and I would say the search party, they are laughable though. They're kind of clowns.
Oh, well, yeah, dude, they're a complete joke.
Yeah. So, anyways, the search party leaves. Phil hears a door shut in the house and goes to explore. Finds Barb's room, goes in, and the door gets slammed behind her.
Yeah.
Dun dun dun. So put it this way: at this point, we got Jess.
Yeah, did we see Phil get taken out?
They don't show it.
Okay.
We'll see her here in a minute. So Jess gets another phone call.
Dude,
It's
so many
him
freaking
again.
phone calls.
Here's some of his lines. You fat pig, bitch pig, Billy, baby, where's the baby? A lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, and so again, there's baby talk. You're thinking, okay, Peter's lost his freaking mind.
Yeah. So this time though, we see the cop at the phone station, and he's working hard. He's tracing this call. By the way, dude, this is not a one-man job. This could probably be done if you had a few guys in there.
Right.
Like, cause he's got to like listen to one spot, then like run across the room to another spot.
It literally sounds like he just, whatever phones are making noise in the city, has to check. I don't even understand how it works. I don't know.
Yeah. Literally, that's just, we have no idea how that, how that works. So anyways, the cop ends up tracing the call and he gets it. He relays them for information to the main detective. The call's coming from 6 Belmont Street. The call is coming from inside the house.
Boom, boom, boom.
Boom.
Yeah, so and what
you need that noise. Boom.
Yeah. What we didn't mention is they did say earlier there was a second line in the house. There was 2 phone lines, right? So each 2 unique numbers. Isn't that how that works?
They did say that, yeah.
Yeah, because the older lady or the mom of the house, she had her own phone line, and the sorority girls had theirs.
Right. So this guy's been calling from inside the house the whole time.
Right, which I love because it reminds me of that. What was that babysitter? You remember that babysitter movie?
You talking about Scream?
No, there's another movie where this whatever it doesn't.
Oh
matter.
yes. What is that movie called?
But that I can't remember. But that's my favorite. I don't know why it gives me chills whenever someone finds out the call's been inside the whole time.
It's a great twist.
It is a great twist because you just imagine the fear if you realize that someone's in the house with you and you had no idea.
Yeah, he's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, now's where the movie starts really picking up. The detective calls the cop who is staking out the house. We see his throat's been slit.
Yeah, he's dead, which we kind of knew because you didn't really see him do anything.
No, he sat in the car and he might have been dead for a long time. Who knows? So Jess ended up looking for Phil. Again, Phil went into Barb's room. That's where she is. The police call the house to warn Jess that the call is coming from inside the house.
The caller is in the house. The calls are coming from the house.
Basically, they're trying to get Jess just to leave the house. Of course, she thinks Phil and Barb are still alive, so she's kind of conflicted. She ends up just grabbing a fire poker and exploring.
It does put you in a spot, though, right? Like if someone's in the house, but imagine me and you are in the house, and I went upstairs, and the cops say, "Hey, the killer's in the house." Do you just leave, or do you go try to help me out?
It'd be like, you are the killer, maybe.
You're like, dude, I knew it. He was the killer all along. My brother did it.
Let me tell you more about this guy.
Dude, that's a fact. I didn't even think about that. I guess that would make sense too if you're like, wait, maybe she's the killer.
Yeah, well, there will be some mistakes made in this movie like that.
Right. But I can understand why she wouldn't want to leave. You want to help your friend out.
Yeah, so she ends up going up to Barb's room and opens it up to find Barb and Phil. They're on the bed, just laid out dead.
Yeah, he's putting up a great piece of artwork.
Yeah, and the killer just happens to be behind the door, and he says, "Agnes, this is me, Billy. Don't you tell what we did." Again, just this guy's whacked. She just slams the door on him, which he's already kind of behind it, just kind of pushes him with the door, and she runs down the stairs. I did kind of like this chase scene because it shows he's like frantic and kind of fast and terrifying.
Yeah, that's like, well, one, unhinged mentally. That's kind of scary in its own. And he does seem to have power and speed. You're right, which is like scary.
Yeah, because at some point he like does this, like he sprints downstairs, like grabs her head and like her hair knocks her down. And she escapes from him, ends up making it to the basement, locking the door. And this is where some mistakes get made. But she goes down into the basement and it's kind of quieted down. She just hears footsteps like the dun, 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 and a door closed like the killer left. And at this point, I'm like, maybe this is the end of the movie. I don't know. But anyway, she's in the basement. Then we see like a silhouette outside the basement windows. And it seems to be the killer roaming around.
Well, yeah. Who else can be looking through the windows in the basement?
Well, there's one guy and his name is Peter. So it's Peter and he just breaks the window and jumps in. Again, a little strange of a move.
Well, and he's looking for Jess. It just seems odd that he would do that. Like,
yeah.
Why wouldn't he just go through the front door? Why is he outside? Like, why does he even think anything bad's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Who knows? He breaks the window and Jess at this point thinks he is the killer. So she's like hiding from him.
Well, and even as the viewer, I'm like, okay, like when's the turn going to happen where he just admits it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he doesn't.
No.
So we flash to there. We kind of cut to the cops. They're all arriving at the house to hear Jess just like screaming. They go on down into the basement to find Peter laying dead on top of Jess.
Jess apparently passed out from whatever happened.
Well, she did murder someone.
That's traumatic, I would imagine, especially when it's your boyfriend.
Yes. And was it the right guy? We'll find out. So Jess kills Peter. The cops end up securing the house. Jess is now, they kind of cut to a little bit later where the scene's been secured. She's in bed. And this is Claire's dad is just like found upstairs, like unconscious. I don't know what this guy was doing the whole time.
I thought I missed something because all of a sudden they're just like, Claire's dad is just passed out. They're like, oh, here, they're helping him out. We didn't even see why. Why is he passed out?
Why was he there in this house with these girls?
Because keep in mind, they still have not found the bodies of the other people that were killed. In fact, the only person they know, I guess we do know those 2 girls were killed. Oh my God. They let her sleep in the house after the 2 girls were killed in the house?
What are you talking about?
The 2 sorority girls were killed in this house. We're still at the sorority house, right?
Right. They cleaned up the scene though.
Yeah, but who would stay at the house?
Nobody would.
Yeah.
But why is she even asleep?
Yeah, they said that she has to sleep for like 4 hours or something.
I don't even know. Whatever. And Claire's dad, I don't know what he was doing at this house. Like, I know he was there earlier, but is he just going to spend the night with the girls? Like,
I think he's just trying to see what's going on with his daughter. I don't know. Keep in mind, they did not search this house.
No,
2 people killed have not searched the house.
Well, what do you mean they haven't searched the house?
They haven't gone upstairs in the attic.
Well, they've gone everywhere except the attic.
Right.
So they searched the house, just not the attic.
Someone has been in the freaking house the whole time. Maybe search the attic. I don't know. I'm not a cop.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so the police just end up leaving Jess laying in the bed sleeping. The camera pans around the house and we see they show kind of the different murder scenes, which have been kind of cleaned up now, but they just take you through each one of the murders. And then you hear a laugh coming from the attic. The camera pans up to see Mrs. Mack and Claire are still up there, and you can hear Billy's like maniacal or weird noises and laughs. The camera pans out. You see the house. It's a cold winter night. You hear the wind blowing. There's one cop stationed out front, and then you hear the phone ring. Oh, and it all continues.
It kind of gave me chills. I don't know why. That was good.
Yeah.
It's a little storytelling. So obviously Jess killed her boyfriend.
She's a murderer.
Yeah. He did nothing.
Controversial, may not be her last kill.
So it's brutal, bro. So here's the thing. We didn't mention Claire had a boyfriend. Claire was the one who initially went missing, the one that started this all, right?
Yeah.
Her boyfriend does come into the scene. We just didn't mention it because he really doesn't play any part of anything. But he does come in and out of the scene. And you know what I thought was interesting? He was a hockey player and he had the hockey mask.
True.
I wonder if Friday the 13th took that. And I also wonder, was he the killer?
I mean, I don't see any reason he would be.
I'm looking for motive here. Unless we're just saying this guy was a psychopath, but why did he choose a sorority house? Maybe he just wanted to kill someone in a sorority house or a bunch of girls. I don't know.
I don't think there's much more to it.
Could be though. It's
no.
a thought.
It's interesting, but I don't think there's much there. Anyways, let's get to our final rating of Black Christmas. What's your score?
Yeah, so I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good, especially for being how old it was. I thought it really held up. It had some cool scenes, entertained throughout the whole thing. I'm gonna give it like a 7.3.
That's reasonable.
I liked it. It was good.
Yeah, it's kind of hard with this because it is like so much older, and when I watch older movies, I always try to think like, what would it be like if I actually watched it at that time period?
Oh, I'm sure it was great for the time.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it. To be honest, I'm gonna give it an 8.3.
Dang.
I mean, I think the story of the killer in the house, the wiretap to have the phone back to the house, being one of the first movies that probably did that, super cool. The killer, very disturbed, very strange. There's definitely like we talked about, some underdeveloped characters like Claire's father. There's the boyfriends and stuff. People that come in and out, and you're just like, oh, we'll get to meet them, and you just don't.
Well, plus we never really even learned what the killer was, which actually I kind of like now that I'm saying that. I like the mystery of it.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind the killer at all. Like, I kind of like the way they made him, like disturbed and strange, and he's doing these different voices. I kind of liked the phone calls. Like, they're just so weird.
Yeah, it was like disturbing, and it creates this fear as you're watching it.
I mean, like I said, I like the kills. I like the unicorn, even the hook to the head when it pulled her up. Thought was pretty good. I don't know. I think it was a good movie.
Solid movie, dude. Again, I'm just shocked that it holds up so good for being like an old movie.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Thanks for whoever recommended this, or how'd you even find it?
I mean, there's a lot of people that recommended it, so thank you all.
I can't believe I've never even heard of this.
Black Christmas
Maybe
movie.
I have, and I just don't remember. I don't know. That's a possibility.
That is a possibility. All right. Well, I think we should tie this one up.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we didn't even mention what our next Patreon movie is going to be.
And it is going to be
Gremlins.
The Little Gremlins. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, so I'm
Dude,
excited to watch that one.
One of our favorites.
One of our favorites. So if you guys want to watch it, be like these other cool people and become a Patreon.
Yeah. And thanks for listening, man. If you could leave us a review, we'd appreciate it.
Yep. So on that note, hey, have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah. And tap that like button. Thanks for listening.
See you guys.
See ya.